Vamos a dar comienzo a la primera de las ponencias. Yo voy a ser muy breve, pero voy a presentar a mi querida colega Tiziana Leucci. Antes de eso, bueno, pues por cuestiones organizativas, vamos a tener las dos primeras ponencias de manera consecutiva, aproximadamente unos 35-40 minutos cada una. Primero será la doctora Tiziana Leucci, después Jasmine Tan, y al final dejaremos tiempo, aproximadamente unos 10-15 minutos, para hacer el debate conjunto. De Tiziana Leucci diré que bueno, ella es investigadora del CNRS, que es el Centro Nacional de Investigación Científica de Francia, y de la EES, la Escuela Superior de Ciencias Sociales de París, donde dirige un seminario desde hace unos cuantos años de antropología de las artes nómadas, ¿verdad?, con su colega Pierre-Philippe Medem, y recientemente se ha incorporado al Laboratorio de Antropología Política de l'ES. Ella tiene formación en danza clásica y contemporánea en la Academia Nacional de Danza de Roma, y además de un máster en Historia y Antropología de las Artes del Espectáculo y en Indología. Y en los años 80 se fue al sur de la India para estudiar la práctica y la teoría de dos danzas clásicas de la India, una estancia que finalmente se prolongó durante 12 años, en los que bueno, pues tuvo un aprendizaje, ¿no?, en la Academia Kalakshetra en Chennai, y después con maestros de danza y antiguos bailarines de templo y de corte. Después regresó a Europa y continuó estudiando las fuentes literarias y teatrales europeas relativas a esos mismos bailarines desde el siglo XIII. Su investigación actual se centra en la historia de las interrelaciones entre artistas de la India y occidentales, la antropología de las teorías estéticas, así como las prácticas coreográficas indias y sus transformaciones coloniales y contemporáneas, y también la antropología del género en la India. El primer eje lo desarrolla en colaboración con el profesor Joël Brod en la Universidad de Leiden, especializado en etnomusicología, historiador de los músicos del norte de la India. El segundo eje se centra en la relación entre el texto escrito y la representación escénica, así como las interacciones entre los diferentes modos de expresión: música, danza, poesía cantada, gestos de las manos y expresiones faciales que intervienen en estas representaciones y que dejan una bueno, pues parte importante a la improvisación. Y el tercero de esos ejes o especialidades se centra en las representaciones de la condición femenina, esposas, cortesanas y su transformación en la sociedad india colonial y poscolonial, tanto en literatura como en teatro y en cine. Para los que estéis interesados en leer algo en español de Tiziana, recientemente ha publicado en el libro, ¿verdad?, que acaba de salir ahora mismo, ¿no?, Coreografiar lo invisible, danza, arte y esoterismo en los albores del siglo XX, un libro editado por una colega común, Irene López Arnaiz y Raquel López Fernández, o también en el libro Las mujeres que inventaron el arte indio, ¿no?, un libro también editado por Eva Fernández del Campo y Sergio Román Aliste. Bueno, pues simplemente me queda darle las gracias por venir. Grazie mille, cara Tiziana. Su conferencia lleva por título Voces, gestos y luchas de las artistas escénicas indias. Bienvenida. Bienvenida.
Thank you so much, Javier, for this presentation. Thank you all the organizers for this wonderful conference that is in this such beautiful frame of Malaga and in these residences in the Thermica. It's really, I'm very, very, very happy. I will talk in English, I'm sorry. I can understand Spanish, but I can't speak properly. So thank you so much, Javier. Thank you so much to all the colleagues here. So today in this my presentation, I'll focus on the feminist, political and ecological combats of three Indian women, all of them performing artists: the singer, poetess, scholar Bangalore Nagaratnamma, the dancer, painter and choreographer Chandralekha, and the actress and dancer Mallika Sarabhai. In their own times and in their own terms, they made the sound of their voice and fought against the oppression of civic rights, the marginalization and dullification of the women, and the other form of harassment, by often risking their own life. Thus, they engage in social battles by using their knowledge in poetry, music, dance, drama, and painting in order to point out, to denounce the inequalities and injustice of gender and caste in the contemporary Indian society, as well as the ecological dangers for the people, animals, and plants. By exploring the light and shade of the mind and the body, they also tackled the complex and sensitive sphere of the human emotivity and sexuality. Throughout the use of the specific artistic medium, they defend the protection of the environment, the freedom of expression for all the citizens, particularly for the women, and the other discriminated subaltern groups. Despite they belong to different historical periods and social background, their common aim consisted in opposing and resisting to any form of arbitrary censorship, conservatism, sexism, fanatical nationalism, and religious intolerance and radicalization. So let's go directly to present them. These are the three ladies. We are talking ladies born in the end of 19th century, and then this choreographer Chandralekha and Mallika Sarabhai was still alive and still active. So I have to also thank that I could get in touch with them, thanks to my dance, my dance teachers, and you will see some of them. And that it's me when I was dancing. I mean, you have to make some work of imagination, imagining me much younger, much thinner, and that it's me. So thanks to all of them that I could come inside this incredible world of this performing artist. So some of them are there. They were very old people at the time when I met them. I worked with them. And then, you see, some of them, they introduced me to this particular artist, Bangalore Nagaratnamma. We will see some, this is our younger student of them. This we'll see some images, all the photographs of these artists that they were also courtesans. And during colonial time, they were accused to be prostitutes. Because why? Because they were like our artists, that they were not getting married. They dedicated their life to the profession of performers. They had the partners, they had the patrons, their lovers, but they didn't get married. So, of course, in colonial time, this was considered a woman. The only way respectable for a woman is to get married, have children, all this. So these ladies, they were, in a way, having a way of life opposite, but it could not be the same like married ladies, because they had to deal with a man, with a musician. They were self-sustained because of their profession. They were getting actually a lot of goods and they were having, let's say, a matrilinear type of society, that their community was following the matrilinear, and that was opposite to the rest of the women, that it was in a very patriarchal society. So it was very interesting. We cannot go in detail today. But the fact that to be accused to be prostitute means that they have been criminalized, and it's like if we say to Eleonora Duse or Sarah Bernard that they were prostitute. And of course, these ladies were at the borderline, and that's why it's also from the genre to ponder about the condition of these artists. So it was very complicated, and then there was some legal debates, some legal law that were applied, and at one point they became out of the law, so they were criminalized, they were considered as criminals, as prostitutes. So it's a very sad chapter of a history of colonial and post-colonial India. So when I met them, I saw some of these photos. They were like a ballet school in our tradition. The girls, the boys were, started to dance very young, like very small, and they have to have this training that it was not only in dance, but in music, in poetry, in literature. And in fact, the courtesans in India were the only women really cultivated. And that was very powerful for them. So other women, they were not allowed to go to school in those days. So any temple and the court had like a corps de ballet in temple court. So they transmit this knowledge. It was very rich in different languages, poetry, music repertoire, dance repertoire from a generation to another generation through mother line again. So that is quite interesting. So this gentleman comes from a very, aristocratic, a royal family in India, and he's when he was young, and he was is a musicologist, a great scholar, and he introduced me, in fact, to this first lady that we are talking today, Bangalore Nagaratnamma, because his father, that he was a lover of arts, was patronizing also her. So this lady was going from a court to the other and was performing, singing. So he was the one that introduced me. He's an incredible collector, one of in the world that has a number of a large number of records from the beginning of the 20th century, great scholar, and introduced me to her work. This is a photos of her from the courtesan community in the 1910, so at the beginning of the 20th century, when it started first to come back. Allora, what happened that she came to know to a poem, very beautiful poem in language of Indian language, Telugu, and so she read this, and she found so interesting, so beautifully made, that she wanted to know the original manuscript, because this published copy at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, was abridged, was not total, was not the complete work. And what happened that when she found the manuscript, she realized that in the printed edition have been erased the full part, first the genealogy of the author, and also all the lines that were erotic, very much, and she realized that actually the author of this poem was a woman. Everybody believed that it was a man, but actually it was a woman, and she was a courtesan, Mudupalani, in the 18th century, and she she was working in the court of this Raja. And in this first part of the genealogy, she's speaking about herself, about her talents, but also of her mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, all the genealogy in female line, that they were all poetess or artists. And because it was a woman that wrote this poem, because it was a courtesan, they erased all this part. So at the point the people believed that it was a man that composed. Then she realized that all the erotic part have been also erased. And there the main character of this poem, that is Radha, is one of in mythology, in the love between Radha and Krishna, but the image of Radha is not a submissive, shy lady, is a woman that asks to her lover to be satisfied emotionally, sexually, so in a very delicate way, so it's the image of woman, very, quite powerful, quite strong. So this has been totally erased. So when she decided to republish again this poem fully, and what happened that once in 1910 it was published, immediately some people, they immediately call the censorship office of the British colonial power, and because they say that it was obscene poem, so they practically they stopped, made censorship on it, and they took, seized all the copy, and they destroyed all the copy because of that. So she fought legally, saying, defending the fact that the author was a woman, that was from the courtesan community, but unfortunately, this ban on this work, it was, removed only after the independence in 1952 when she passed away. So this it was fighting all her life. This it was her first fighting. So you'll see this Radha Krishna, some picture. Second fighting is that at that moment there were all these debates towards abolish also this institution, the courtesans. So, and she founded an association of this Madras Presidents Devadasi Association with some of the best artists of the time, and she fought legally to the High Court. So to see how this lady was really outspoken and didn't let people, also this battle was lost, unfortunately. So as I say, they were a little bit like the Sara Bernarda de Leonora Duse. I'm sure that in Spain you have a number of incredible artists at that time. Third battle, she built a shrine, a temple, in honor of a saint composer, music composer. And all her money, she was quite rich lady. She was famous for a collection of diamonds, because at the time, the aristocrats, they were never giving money to these artists. They were giving either land, either jewels. So she lost, practically she used all her jewelry to build this shrine for this musician in honor of this saint musician that passed away long back. And the law that meantime passed on after the Indian independence, that the women, they were not allowed anymore of this community to sing and dance in front of in the temples or in the court, but in this temple that she herself built, in her will, she made sure that all women, independently of the origin of their community, of their religion, any woman at any time can go perform, sing, dance in this temple. So it was her will. And like you will see, she was very, very cultivated lady. And here is this image of her, a statue that they made of her near this temple. This is here. And she, she made this, which says, here has been built by me. And she made a mother size, like line, as it was traditional. So I'll go to the second, Chandralekha, also an artist, and she too, when she was adolescent, like a teenager, she read some scripts, like holy script in the Hinduism, in which say that a woman, this Dharma Shastra, should never be independent. When she's young, she has to be under the power of the father. When she's married, under the power of the husband. And when she will be elder, old, under the power of the son. So, woman, and she said, no, it will not be my life, this, against also the family background. And in fact, she decided to never get married, never have children, because she said this is a slave woman. And though she had several partners, she lived at one point with two men in the same time, so it was a big scandal in the society at the time. Well, and she made a number of choreography, in which she explored this different sides of a human being, and also sexuality. She also tackled the question of homosexuality in India, which was taboo. It was a really scandal. Each program was a scandal. But she was also outspoken, and she collaborated with Pina Bausch. Pina Bausch also loved her, so they had a lot of and we were talking yesterday about this painter, because many of you are art historian, and I made with another colleague a conference in Paris about counterculture in the Indian arts, and about this tantric painting, and in fact a text that is very important at the end of 19th century, the translation first translation of the Kama Sutra, that everybody thinks the Kama Sutra is only about sexuality, but it's not just this, it's much more than that. And even there is a chapter dedicated to courtesans, and there is also a part dedicated to homosexual love, which was not considered in the past no sin, not at all. It was a part of the pleasure, and the people, they can have a pleasure. The difference between sex for procreation and sex for pleasure, that is make the big difference, you know. So this is very important, and this is the new translation also in the 60s, the revolution, sexual revolution, even in Europe, in the United States, in all America, but also in India. So the text, so 60s, Beatles go to India. India is becoming very popular. So, and in fact, I met Chandralekha under my first Indian dance teacher, that he was her partner also, like you see. He spoke about, he was in Italy, spoke about her. So I was very curious when I went to India to meet these incredible ladies who fought also politically against, we see some photos of her. Was very much influenced this Tantra art, that Tantric is a philosophical school in India from the Middle Age, but that use a diagram, very abstract symbols. So, as you see, many of these, and also was taken because in this tradition, women play an important role, and the sexual intercourse is also very important. Woman as origin of life, of the universe, of everything. So it's an opposition to the very patriarchal society. So in the 60s, all these elements has been retaken, reinterpreted, and Chandralekha was also part of this movement. This is Rasa, this is what we were telling yesterday, and this is some diagram taken from traditional Hindu-Buddhist culture, and this type of diagram that are also very ephemeral. I mean, you just ladies, they do, and then people pass on, and it's quite interesting, this type of things. So the cult of Mother Goddess in the 60s, 70s, some Marxists also in India, author, they started to work on this topic, which give a lot of, like you said, very important to the role of women, but, and this idea of a Mother Goddess, that we find in India, but also in other in anthropological, also in archaeological studies. And this is, but Chandralekha was also an activist, political activist. So she used to do it street theater. When during the emergency in the 70s, India passed on a very terrible period of dictatorship, let's say. So, and with a group of artists, they used to make a street theater with posters, with very, very simple props that they could be easily rolled when the police was charging them. So, and so she worked a lot of painting with the poster, Shri, which means a woman, depicting empowered woman, with all the weapons taken from a goddess, symbol of goddess, Hindu goddess, and a woman that has been mutilated, no? And how to survive in patriarchy, sorry that it is in the patriarchy, and a number of things like that. And her choreography, the girls, she used to make a trend also in martial arts, because for her, a woman is also warrior, should be defend herself, should not be. So all these elements are very important in her choreography. So we have some image of a goddess. As I said, in the meantime, in Europe, in the United States, there were all these archaeological excavation of the role of women, and we don't say, in fact, I mean, if in the past society, in the prehistory, the woman had this important role, because even in India we have so many goddesses, but still women are so much, you say, subjugated, tamed. But for feminists, archaeologists, artists, there were some reference books. And again, Kama Sutra and the tantric tradition with the sexuality was explored in a very interesting way. So this is a nurture. And then this is a last production, some photos, and then she fell sick, and then after a few years she passed away. So just to say that really this lady, they made a big impact on the society. And consider the Indian society very conservative, so it's very complex. So, and her idea of dance, of course, a freedom of the body has to be free, and this, and the women, and all the people. So, the sense of this engagement, Sisa's image of her already aged, such image really were really scandalous in India at that time. I remember people were shouting, and she didn't care. Then when I arrived in India, unfortunately, you know this terrible custom of the sati, the self-sacrifice of the widow that was abolished during colonial time by the British at the beginning of the 19th century. But actually, when I arrived in India in 1987, still there was a case. So this is important. This is some figure of this sati. Terrible, this is another aspect of a patriarchy, terrible. Why I'm showing this? To introduce also the work of the last, Mallika Sarabhai, and the dowry debt, so, which means it was terrible in India. So many women were murdered by the in-law family because of the dowry. So it's another aspect of the patriarchal society. And also the ecography that was taken as an example to know if the baby is a girl or a boy, and if the baby is a girl, they used to provoke this abortion, and which means that today in India it's one of the only a really rare country in the world of the ratio between male and female. There are much more male men than women. So, and because of this infanticide of the girls, and this is another terrible thing. And against all these ladies, they fought, actually. And though the law, against the sati, there is a law against sati, against dowry, against female infanticide, but despite of that, is going on. And then there is, in 1992, there was these important events, the destruction of the mosque in Ayodhya in India, that create an inter-religious problem, and which is also the origin, if you want, of this system now of government or now in India that unfortunately, I have to say, is very fascist, with all the problems. So this nationalist taken, that of course all these nationalists, even they say today that women should actually, the best example of faithfulness for a woman is to kill herself after the husband. So we are going really back of these very, very, very horrible things. So Mallika Sarabhai, perhaps you know her, if you have seen, maybe the people, you are very young, but in the 80s, there was Peter Brook that made this wonderful, let's say, theater, stage, play, and also movie of the Mahabharata, these epics, Indian epic. And she was the character of Draupadi, one of the major characters. So she played in this movie, and it was very important for her because she was already activist, but after this experience with Peter Brook, really took her, became even stronger in a political engagement. And then I will talk about one of the drama that she co-directed, and Shakti, the Power of Women in 1989, that I've seen when I was in India. And you will see her, this Sita's daughter, all connected, denouncing all this contemporary problem of Indian society and of women in Indian society. And she takes always in her element from the mythology, the Indian mythology and Indian epics, and make it a contemporary issue of women. So very interesting. So using a mask. And all these, and she also got engaged, for instance, working with Brecht Brecht work, so this political theater. And as I say, from the mythology, take example of powerful heroine, but it gives a new interpretation. And for instance, Draupadi, how much minutes I have? 10 minutes, okay, because of that. For instance, Draupadi, that it was this princess that got married in this, with 5 brothers, the same 5 brothers. So she said, nobody asked me permission, I mean, if I wanted to be, first of all, married, and second, with 5 of them. And in the epic, the eldest brother, Yudhishthira, that he was a lovely man, but actually with a problem, because he was playing the dice, how you say, somebody that is betting this. So in playing, he lost his kingdom, and the last thing, he lost all his brother, that became like a slave of the enemy, and then the last was her. She bet on her, and he lost. So, and the enemy took her, dragging her from the air, and start to remove her sari, her dress. And at the point to humiliate, to make her naked in front of an assembly of men. But at that moment, the god came, Krishna, and made that this tissue never ends. So she could never be really naked at this. So, and the Draupadi is very enraged, they say. And, I mean, I have been betrayed not only because they bet on me. So it's another version of the poem. Then the Sati also, for instance, Mirabai, this other character, that she was a queen, she was a... but she left the palace to be like a roaming pilgrim, because so in the traditional we see her like a saint, very devoted woman to the deity, but actually she interpreted in different ways. Say, she escaped this, even though it was from a royal family, she was segregated, she had to be, and the way of moving from the palace was a way also to get a sort of rebellion, rejecting this, and so it was very scandalous in India, because like we say, I mean, a new interpretation. Or, and I would like Lakshmi Bai also, that she's a Rani, she's a queen that fought against the British in the, with her child, a sort of Anita Garibaldi, you know, like, and she fought, she died in the battlefield. So also a very strong woman. And then these Bishnoi women that in 18th century, it's a community in Rajasthan, in a region of India, and there was a Raja, a king, that decided to build a new palace. So he sent his men to go and cut trees. But for this community, for the women, trees and animals are like brother and sister, sort of some Francis type. So, and this lady, they embraced the trees, and to avoid that being cut, but the soldier, they cut the trees and the ladies. So all of them passed away, and they were really murdered in this way, and so became a symbol. And in the 1970s, the women of the Chipko movement, I will show some photos of them. This is some images, some painting of the ladies that died of these women of the Chipko movement in India. They made the same things against the deforestation, the cutting of trees. They all put together to avoid the trees, and this has become a very strong movement all over India, this environment. It's like it's a form of ecofeminism also, fighting for, and till today there is also this lady, Vandana Shiva, that is a scientific, but that made a bank of seeds, because you know in India, unfortunately, there are so many cases of suicide by the farmers because they are selling seeds, and particularly all these multinational like Monsanto, that gives, and that this is not only in India, unfortunately, also in South America, in many, that they send these genetically transformed seeds, and also pesticide, all these chemical things, and actually make the soil very, this is a she's that's made a bank of seed, traditional things, I mean, original seeds from India that were quite resistant since so many centuries to the climatic condition, to the soil condition, and unfortunately, so many plantation has been destroyed totally, and as I said, this land has become very, very, very dry and very, and you say not fertile anymore. And every year, thousand farmers commit suicide because they are, they have, like you say, yes, they had to pay for what but they have always to be dependent from this multinational, and they cannot at one point support anymore. They don't have more money, so the entire family get suicide with some pesticides. It's very, very sad. So all these ladies, all in their play, and they denounce all this. And so I'll just finish here to say just this is images. This is a printing press, feminist, gender-oriented. It was called the Cali for Women for many years. Now it's called Zuben. We can't see there, but it's a Zuben that publish all text by women, transgender, LGBT, these two really, and now they are having a really very difficult time because the government is putting a lot of pressure. There is so much censorship in India, and all these ladies really they fight for the right of all the people, not only women, but to defend what I will say from this Italian scholar, Antonio Gramsci, what he used to call subaltern, subalterni, and that really for their civic right, for the freedom of expression, which unfortunately now is at stake. It's for really, really a very, very delicate moment. So it's true that in principle, India is the largest democracy in the world for number of people, but now really we are questioning if still we can call us a democracy or more authoritarian and a dictatorship. So thank you so much. Sorry, I hope that we are okay. Fine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sì, mi metto là così vedo le immagini, così. Aspetta, no, vado di qua.
Bueno, ahora vamos